Thunder Lightening Weekly Podcast.
Talking all things mediumship, spirit and paranormal.
Awaken with Thunder and Lightning. Reignite
the light
in your soul. Evening. So wait for a few more of you to join. Hope you're all keeping well. Thought I'd describe or tell you a bit about my journey to becoming a medium, and then how do you know if any of you have got abilities? So how many of you at the moment that are on think that you've got abilities or aren't sure? Laura, not sure. There's the little things that we've all got abilities. I would have said all of us are pretty much born with abilities, but generally with society nowadays and we're brought up, we kind of get taught to disregard them. So our sixth sense is kind of a primary navigational tool, or can be. But I've never been described as normal, I don't think. But I wouldn't have said that was a bad thing. So I've not always been a medium. I've always had abilities and always had a sixth sense, but not always been a medium. But there's a lot of rumours out there that it could take ages to develop, etc. That's not the case either. I know there's a couple, or at least a couple, if not more. When they first started, they'd done development course with me, and from them not knowing they'd got an ability to 6 months down the line where they were able to read.
Spirit with mediumship.
Yeah, so that was reading divination and with spirit for mediumship, which I've done quite a few people through those courses now. So, probably about 50 or 60. That's flown by. So let me just read some of your comments there. So Maddie feels like she's got a sixth sense, definitely. I'm going to start it a bit the other way around, okay, because you're commenting on the sixth senses. So how do you know whether you've got abilities? The intuition. If you've got a good intuition, an example can be as simple as you always go home the same way. Then every so often you'll go home a different way, and when you get home you find out that you've missed a big accident or tail back and you'd been queuing for ages. So there, you wouldn't have known that, but your sixth sense has tuned into that. A strong sense of deja vu. Lots of friends coming to you for advice, and you're giving advice, don't know where the advice is coming from. They're little bits of snippets of how you know whether you've got an ability. So yeah, Maddie said little things and wonders why. A sixth sense. Sandra's not sure. Sees things before they happen and they end up happening. That's another good sign. Claire, I think I can sense my brother around, but I'm not sure if I have any abilities or it's just me overthinking. If you're overthinking, then you'd be shutting off the process of receiving information in the first instance. Because most of the time where we sort of picture things that might in advance and then they might happen, will always come when we've got a quiet mind. Could be that you've got music playing, so you've distracted that side of the brain, which is when things can kind of drop. But there's many different ways to kind of develop, which I will talk about. Tracy Flocker, I think of something and then reading the news and it's happened. Yeah, and as well, you might not read it exactly spot on. You might know something's coming and then it might be slightly different to you perceived, but you still knew something was coming. That's another good way of judgment. You're a good judge of character, Tracy. That'd be correct. As well for aiding you, a sign that you've got ability. Laura Pacey, knowing things are going to happen mostly bad. Don't know whether you mean around you or around others. Intuition, is it where you think you've been somewhere and you know you haven't been there before? I would say deja vu is where you think you've been somewhere where you've not been there before. I know when I was young, my father took me to York. I'd never been to York, I'd never been to Yorkshire before in my life. I knew my way around like the back of my hand, giving people directions and all sorts. So I'd probably only been about 7, 8 years old. My dad couldn't believe it. He thought I was taking the mick when people were asking for directions and I was telling them where things were. That's like a sense of deja vu, which I'd have said has something more to do with like past life. So intuition is more just knowing something, knowing someone's pregnant, knowing someone's going to have a girl, knowing someone's feeling down. So you might know when a mate's feeling down or a friend's feeling down and you just happen to give them a call. Or the other one, you could be thinking of someone and then they call you. Or just as the phone rings, you know who's going to be on the other end of the phone. That can be your intuition. Okay, a lot of situations too where I feel like I've been in a situation before, like it's happened twice or I've visioned it happening, and it's happened days or weeks later. That can often, with the number of lives we've had as well, that can be kind of past memories coming back, Maddie, where kind of, you have been in that position before, but it's not in this life. You get feeling sick to your stomach, you shouldn't do something or go somewhere, and then if you do, you're normally proved why you shouldn't have done. But yeah, those feelings in the stomach, they definitely can be Georgette. Yeah, being an empath, feel the energy a lot and very strong too. People's energies, yeah. Yeah, that's a good sign as well, Eric. Right. So some of you will have probably heard that a lot of people would say it takes ages to develop. It's all about how much work you put in initially. But I haven't always been a medium. Like I said, I've always been sensitive. I had experiences as a child. Could see or sense spirit, but didn't really fear them. I know my father's house was haunted. No one would like going in the cellar at night time. But if anything needed to be got from the cellar, I was always quite happy to go down there. I knew there was something there that didn't feel particularly nice, but that was kind of where I started to believe if something can touch us and we can touch it and push it back, which then I had a later experience where that was the case. But I've always liked helping people, always wanted to help people, and I was a financial advisor before. Really didn't want to do that anymore. Money, I realised that most people that were really, really happy probably didn't have as much as the wealthy. The wealthy weren't very happy. And regulations and things I disagreed with, they weren't on the side of the customer at all. So I came away from that, didn't really know what else I was wanted to do. Started a transport business, and while I was doing that, met my partner Marie. And she took me to a psychic event where there were, I think, 3 or 4 mediums. I think there were 4 mediums, but we only got to see 3 of them. And all 3, they hadn't sort of conferred with each other because I'd watched them going around table to table. All 3 of them sat down, looked straight at me and said I could be doing what I'm doing now by Christmas. And this was in August time, would you have said? Around about August, maybe July, August time. And said I could be being a medium, a paid medium by Christmas. Which, the first one that told me that, I sort of laughed. And the second one, and I was, well, hang on a second, now 2 of them have said it, and when the third said it, I was like, well, there's something weird here. So I've always been one to believe that anything's possible. So I thought, well, how do I go about doing that? Tried to get some people to help me develop. Couldn't get anyone to help me develop. So I was developed purely by spirit. I did attend Spiritualist Church for practice readings on their open circle. And any psychic or medium events that were going on, tried to book onto them. So I'd go more to pick up the messages, not pass them on, but know myself what I'd received, and then having it confirmed by the medium, repeating it to people. So I spent a lot of time doing that. Went to more than one circle, so I went to out of town to practice read, but really just let spirit kind of lead me. And every time I tried to get someone then to, or I'd book someone to try and help me develop, I'd get a call back if they did take my booking and tell me that they, well, one eventually told me, look, spirit wants to develop you themselves. My guide's telling me I can't develop you, so you're going to have to develop yourself with spirit. So that's what happened. And
you didn't really fit in when you went to practice and things. It's not an easy journey, is it?
No, I definitely didn't fit in. There were quite a few funny stories. So the Spiritualist Church, me and the Spiritualist Church didn't exactly fit in. So I did have belief in spirit, always have done. But the Spiritualist Church, there were nice people there, but there were others that I could see that some bits were being hidden. And I like to know everything, and spirit were pointing out to me what was being hidden and kept back. One of the good things was I've never really been one to let anything knock my confidence. But the first time I went to the circle, I think it might have actually been the second time that I went to the circle, there was one chap who kept saying no, no, no to everything that I got. But there was another medium there, which is why it's always worth, if you have or are developing, having a medium that can overhear what you're receiving. She overheard what I was receiving and then turned around to the chap and said, look, he's hearing all this correctly. He was more jealous because I was new into the group and was trying to slow me down, I guess. But she'd put a stop to that because she could overhear what I was receiving and saying that it was correct, which he then agreed. So you can quite easily have your confidence knocked. But that really did help me because she could overhear. A lot of the time I didn't know exactly what was going on because spirit were developing me, as I've said, and I did have some strange experiences. Soon had to learn very quickly to set rules and boundaries because otherwise I had spirit all around me as soon as I started developing. And once you start, you can't really stop. Yes, there'll always be extra abilities you can get. I don't think you ever stop developing, but once you start, spirit will be around you. So they were interfering with when I was driving and when I was working, but that was my own fault because I've got an interest, and kept giving me more and more. I forgot where I was leading now. Where was I going towards? Yeah, but I started seeing things. People stood outside, spirits stood outside doctor's surgeries, and I went by. I really started seeing. But the other thing that I did to aid my development was go on paranormal events. Because you can still read the items, there's still spirits around, and some people will kind of get, others will have had the same story. So then you can kind of get that confirmed as well. Because you need the confirmation in order to know that you're developing, in order to know that you're moving in the right direction. But so August, so I got told I could do that, say, beginning of August. So it was August, September, October, November, and December. So in 5 months, from not even knowing that I was going to go down that path to doing paid readings on Christmas Eve, which they told me, 3 of them had told me would happen, and it did happen. So anyone that's wanting to develop or think you've got an ability, don't let anyone stop you or tell you that you can't develop fast. Your biggest problem then is you've got not much track record, but I was always honest with that. So I've recently developed, but I was very, very fortunate. The company that I went to where the first 3 mediums told me that I could do it, I was signed up and working with them by the February. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February, 6 months, and it had come around. I was working with the company then that I first saw the 3 mediums that told me that I would be able to develop. So anything is possible. Believe in yourselves, anyone that is trying to develop. Like I said, it's not easy. It's the amount of work that you put in. And your energies will change. People will leave your life, but others will come into your life. I'd love to say, I love working with other mediums as well. I'd love to say that psychic and mediums, everyone gets along and everyone's friendly. There is a lot of jealousy. But then you also get others that are absolutely fantastic that aren't like that, and I often question sometimes how some mediums continue to work as mediums with the way that they are. But that's just me. I know Jules is watching at the moment. Jules Rafter. It was spirit that told me to search on the internet at one point for someone else with the same surname. That was a medium. But she was the only one that I could find. So I should imagine somewhere in the background there's a family link, but it'll be very distant. And I reached out to her and sent her a message. And now I do lives with Jules. And love working with her. Love working with other mediums. But lots try and keep things behind closed doors. So, as soon as I started doing the readings, I started getting a further connection. Spirit always gave me that divination was absolutely fine, that Spirit can give messages via divination, which they can. They can use numbers, and if they've got a short form of dropping you information that means something, then use it. It's saving spirit energy. See, it's not all about us got to raise our vibration in order to work with spirit. Spirit have to lower their vibration as well. So I learned that quickly. So if we've got to put X number of work in to raise our vibration to here, they've got to bring their vibration down in order to match ours. So the more that we can keep increasing our vibration, the less distance they've actually got to bring their vibration down, and then you get the clear communication. But it is switching off your mind. And I've never been a great one to sit still and meditate. I will be honest. Meditation to me was like, oh, bollocks to this. But sitting and listening to music, or going for a walk, did a lot of walks in the countryside. That was where a lot of information would drop in while I was walking. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's getting that quiet mind. The purpose of meditation is to get the quiet mind. So if you can do something else to get the quiet mind, do it. So anyone that struggles with meditation, so well, what are you trying to meditate for? Often it's like, well, I want to get a closer connection to a spirit guide. Okay, so what do? Well, I sit and meditate. Okay, do you give an intention that you want to connect with your spirit guide? Yes. They never say anything. But you put an intention out there to connect with your spirit guide. Connecting isn't an exchange of information, it's connecting to feel their energy. So I'd say that you're successfully doing that in meditation, but you need to ask them now to speak. So, Spirit, how awkward. I did learn that very quickly. So I can ask a question, they won't give me the answer. Someone else can ask me the same question, Spirit will come to me and give me the answer. But you've got to ask really for what you want from Spirit, and then they will give you it. But yeah, the paranormal, so I wouldn't have said there's an area of spirituality I don't work in now. And I never plan on stopping developing. I know that there's more and more to come, but I always wonder what on earth they're going to give next, or what they're going to do next. I know I'd been told that I could do physical mediumship when I was sitting for physical mediumship, and the next minute I'd got Spirit talking through me, which was a big surprise. So that moved me to the trance mediumship. I wouldn't change it for the world, and I do it full time. Once I started developing, then they dropped in spirit portraits, so that they were drawing. I can't draw, so they were drawing through me. I always had my voice changing a little bit and going on what I'd call squeaky. I let it happen, and I often wasn't able to remember what had been said when my voice went like that. That was when they first started channeling and working towards me doing trance mediumship. But it taken me all the way up to the point of learning hypnosis. But I will move on shortly to how you can know if you've got abilities and how to try and move them forward.
You did use crystals actually, didn't you, to raise the vibration?
Crystals. Now I've never studied crystals or know much about them, but if I'm drawn to a crystal, I use them. Now crystals majorly increased my vibration very fast. And like most things, as you might have gathered, I jumped into the deep end. I jumped in the deep end with very powerful crystals, Moldavite and Synergy 12, and kept them on me 24/7 from the moment I got them, and had to go through the side effects of sweats, fits, dizziness, feeling on a different planet. But that was quieting my mind. It was letting my mind go into the working phase. And when I first started, I had to turn up at someone's house and sit outside for 20 minutes before I went in to do the reading, because I needed 20 minutes to tune in and switch off my own mind. And now it's as quick as clicking my fingers. I can jump backwards and forwards. But yeah, there's things you have to get used to. The biggest things that hold people back that I've found is fear. Or other mediums will try and hold those that are developing back. You'll get one that tells you want to develop, that you should develop, and then that same medium could then tell you, oh, you're going too fast, or you're not doing this right, doing that right. I wouldn't take anyone's word for what's right or what's wrong. I just listen to your own intuition. Everyone's different anyway. So listen to your own intuition and your own guides. And if you can get a medium that can do trance and can bring your guides close to their guides for the trance, then you're going to get accurate information as to your development path, which you should know yourself, but it will give you confirmation. But a lot of will tell you that you can develop, you start developing, then they'll try and hold you back. That did happen to me personally, and then that would have been jealousy, and I feel for him. I thank him very, very much, because he helped me on the path initially. I kind of just I would have said, gone flying by him, not saying that out of ego. It's just I always want to develop more, and the more I trust in spirit, the more spirit seem to give to me, and they will for everyone.
I think there's a presumption that all mediums know everything and have all of the answers, and they don't.
Yes, there is a presumption that all mediums will know everything all the same. Ones will work in different ways. And one of the biggest things that can throw a medium off, I prefer not to be asked questions till the end. I'd always give time for people to ask questions. It's, are you getting a name? The moment you hear, or I hear, are you getting a name? That brings my physical mind back, and it's as if, do I know if I'm guessing a name now, or am I being given the name? Whereas if a spirit wants to give the name, and then no one's asked that question, then it's very easy, because I just repeat the name that's come, I repeat everything that's given to me. But those direct questions, are you getting a name? And it's like, oh no. Now I've got William, Mark, Henry, George, Fiona, Steve, Linda, Kerry. If someone says to you, you got a name, can you think of a name? How many names pop into your head? So it just distorts the balance of the reading with that. But it always makes me smile. So I know at one point I did say, I'm not, spirit don't seem to like giving me names. I did a reading for a lady. I'm not joking. I must have had 24 names that came out, and all 24 names, not giving them in one go. And then gave something as evidence. And I was like, I'm going mad now, this can't possibly be right. I gave her all the names and she could take every single one. I remember running up to Marie and saying, I've just given 24 bloody names and she could take them all. But she hadn't asked me for the names. It's funny. But likewise, I was never worried. Most people that develop want to know all about their guide. But my thinking is, well, I know my guide's there. I more want to know what, I just want them to share the information with me. I'm not, yeah, I'd like to know more about them, but it's not important. And being in that mentality with them, it took me, if I've been doing it 7 years, it took me 4 years to actually know the name of my guide. But I knew I was getting guidance from my guide, and I just refer to them as my guide. But a lot of people can get stuck on, well, what's my guide's name? What's this about my guide? What's that about my guide? The importance is, if they're your guide, they can only tell you stuff about one of their past lives. Their name would only be from one of their past lives, so it's kind of irrelevant. It's knowing that you've got the guide that's the important thing. What are you laughing about?
It makes so much sense, like you say, they've had many names.
To be perfectly honest, you could call your guide whatever you wanted. Call them Dumbo and they'll still work with you. So just don't get caught up on that. And like I said, the meditation is just getting into that quiet mind. So I used to sing to myself, and I still probably do. I wouldn't have said I was a fantastic singer. But there's many different ways. There's not the same path for everyone. So you can use your development to heal and use your intuition for things that step into what you could call psychic surgery, which is beyond Reiki. It's using your intuition, letting guides come close, more in a trance state, and healing people in ways that I can't understand how it happens, how it works. But with groups where people have had cancer and the cancer's gone, or have had leukemia and the leukemia's gone, fractured bones, gone. That's the closest thing I could say that I've come towards miracle. I'm not religious. I believe in spirit and spirit world. The angels I believe in, but not in a context of a religion. That's more with regards to the clearances and the exorcisms that are kind of got. That was one of the first things I was doing before I was even paid. In actual fact, the spirit led me down, which I guess was to get rid of my fear. I've never had a fear, but fear can really hold you back, and fear's just going to bring more negative sort of energies towards you. So yeah, I guess so. In the 7 years, I've gone from not being a medium at all, but just having abilities that I didn't particularly use, to 6 months working with the company that at first told me I'd be able to do that, and started working in the paranormal, which really did help me, but I was just as a mental medium. Then they started giving me channeled information. I've done a lot of study myself, studied mediumship development, psychic and psychic development, spirit animals and totems, shamanic healing, energy healing, moonology, scrying, dowsing, channeling, soulmates and twin flames, meditation teaching, psychic development, animal reiki, hoodoo, mentalism, memory, improving memory, soul retrieval, remote viewing, astral projection, numerology, Reiki master, demonology, capturing, analysing voice phenomena, dragon energy, unicorn energy, and hypnosis, which I never liked doing exams either, or tests or anything like that. I was heavily dyslexic, and I just love working with spirit, and spirit will help me. So anyone that's dyslexic or anything, don't let anything hold you back. The only reason I started with the qualification to start was because I developed that fast. I needed something to say, look, I could do this, and shut others up, which is where I did the mediumship and got a qualification. So it isn't needed.
You were already medium.
I was already a medium, but it was just to have something to show that I could and understood all the principles behind it, because I had been taught by spirit. So I know I am different to most in that respect, and now I do pass that on to others. I pass on the way the spirit taught me and the way spirit wants to give information, but they don't always give it to the same to each person, because everyone works in different ways. It's like saying you're clairvoyant. Why work with only one of the clairs? It's only going to limit the spirit audience that can come to you to pass messages, because not all spirit are going to arrive showing you things. So you might be better at one clair than any of the others, develop and open them all. My favourite one is claircognizance, just knowing. But it's the hardest one because you've really got to trust. I would agree with that, Sarah. There's not a rush to develop, but some people will be able to develop quicker. It is about own pace. But if you found your forte in life and you just sort of know, and you've got a calling, that is what I've got to do, that is what I want to do, and you may not even know why, then don't listen to others that say it can take years. Like the trance, that's often kept behind closed doors. Physical mediumship definitely is normally kept behind closed doors. I don't know why. I do it with supporters a lot. I'll even do trance on the lives. For the ability, it may as well be used. But no, it doesn't take years to do any of that. It can do, but it doesn't have to. How can you speak to someone that has passed, that you can feel is there, but you can't see them? Trust in your mind. You could use a pendulum. A pendulum, Vicky, would enable you to get yes-no answers. Use your hands by nominating a hand for a yes-no and feel which one gets touched. And really building up from there. So I said, actually, the pendulum I used an awful lot when I was first developing to get yes-nos. Am I really getting this? Is this correct? And the pendulum can tell you yes or no, and that can enable the loved one to speak more. But I can have conversations with everyone else's loved ones. Having conversations with my own loved ones doesn't quite work like that. It's not as clear. And a lot of people, all mediums I speak to, they don't get clear communication from their loved ones. Not as much as they do for everyone else's. I don't really get tired. I don't get exhausted. I've worked with psychics, and psychics can be tired by the time they finish an event, and I'm still raring to go and do more. Or spirit art. I have got to the point where I've been tired. That's a funny story in itself as well. One of the first events I did was my own event at a pub. The landlady got it completely wrong. I was meant to be doing like 2 or 3 hours of messages. She said, oh, everyone will get a message. There were probably 90 people there. So me being me, I am going to give it. She said it, I'm going to do it. So I managed to read all 90 people that were there, but it did take me till about 1 o'clock in the morning. So I worked from 7 o'clock till 1 a.m. But I managed to give every single person a message, which boosted my confidence no end. So no, I don't really tire. A guide would have been a person. It's now a spirit that's around you. Everyone's got guides. The more you develop, the more guides that come around you, Maddie. That's brilliant if you've got the name of your guide, Laura. Obviously, I'm not tuned into any of it at the minute. That's great. You've got an Indian guide. I do have one, but he more steps forward for healing. My guide that I said is Native American. I don't know if I've told you that story, Jules. She said, don't forget your side job of a nude dancer. I turned up to do another event, which all I'd got was the name of the village. I thought it was the social club. It was the social club, but not the same social club. They've got 3 social clubs. So I turned up to the one social club, and I got told, no, it'll be the one across the road. So I go and move the car, go into the second social club. Wasn't expecting there to be a third. So I walk in, say, oh, yeah, I've got an event. There were a load of ladies there. I thought, well, that's probably normal for readings. And I said, are you going to go and get changed? I was like, no, I'm fine as I am. And I went, oh, okay then. He said, hang on a sec, this is for a medium, isn't it? They were like, no, the stripper. So I very quickly found out that there was another social club in the same village, or a little town. So that was amusing. What is the bright side of being an empath? Let me write down some of these questions and I can cover them. But there are some bright sides of being an empath. It's just learning how to look after your energy. Now, I'd agree that you don't need any certificates to be a medium, but the only thing I would say is if with these certificates then you can demonstrate that there's ongoing development. So even like you, where you've done ongoing development, Sarah, and it's good to have a track record there, and you can quite easily state that to anyone, which then I'll obviously confirm for you, and I know you've had it from other places as well. So ongoing development means you're always opening to learn more, even if it is from spirit. But no, you don't need a certificate to be a medium. Like I said, I was a medium before I had the certificate. I had that more just got it started because of how fast I had developed. But then I'm glad I did now because I haven't looked back since. I've learned so much. Don't always agree with everything that I learned from courses, and Spirit will correct a lot of things, but has enabled me to learn more. I love the physical mediumship. It was when we did it in person, Sarah, up at Rotherham. We did it in person there, and they were all feeling hand being shaken. So there wasn't anything other than the hand and the wrist. How I carry my pendulum everywhere, Jules. And about, we did count the other day, or some of the repetitive Herkimer diamonds. Quite a few crystals, but a lot of them are small. I did write it down, but I know I've now added another 4 to it. 55 crystals. That is some of what I'm wearing, and then there's others in my pocket. Laura can communicate with the dead while she's asleep. If really wants to develop herself, communicate when awake. Hold that down. I'll answer that for you, Maddie. Right in your book. So Louisa Connie, you're asking, how can you release pain in your body and fatigue? Are you referring to that within development or in general? Does the spirit guide and animal spirit do the same thing? So Vicky wants to know, does the spirit guide and the animal spirit do the same thing? I will answer that further. Vicky, with regard to your question, but the first thing I will say is the second part you asked, and how can we identify who's helping us? Do you need to know who's helping you? As long as you're getting the help, I would say to start with. Yes, it's nice to know who's helping you, but is that the important part? Only in my belief, Sarah, I always like amethyst. But it can be anything you're drawn to. For healing, I use clear quartz, but spirit communication, I use amethyst. I'm not just basing that on because I like amethyst. I've actually seen it at paranormal events where more than one person's using pendulums. There's amethyst, there's rose quartz, there's all different ones. And the ones that can significantly see the movement more are the amethyst pendulums. So that's why I would say amethyst if you're talking about spirit communication. All of the others work, but you might be looking for a movement that's like a fraction of a movement compared to a big movement, which amethyst can give. And so I've written down the questions, I think, now. You want a bigger one, Sarah? You'll have to talk to your husband about that. Louisa Connor, I'm on board the development path that I'm talking tonight, but I would say, I don't know whether you've tried Reiki or psychic surgery. Both of those could aid you with reducing pain or removing the pain. With regard to fatigue, you need to first know what area the fatigue's coming from. So it could be an imbalance, which I can't tell you that at the moment. It'd need a reading and possibly even my guide coming through to try and do that. But you can get energy attunements. I know I do them, but there will be other people out there as well that do energy attunements, and that could really help you. Right. So let's look at these questions I've written down, and let's hope I can read my writing. The bright side of empathy. Knowing when someone's got a problem and being able to help them. That would be a bright side of empathy. Knowing with empathy, it also means you can read energies of groups. It could keep you out of trouble. That's a bright side of empathy. Obviously, there are the downsides. Others can take your energy. But that's only when you're not knowing or have not learnt how to look after your energy as an empath. Yes, sometimes you need to avoid certain situations and things. Like I don't really have any rules on what type of readings that I get. I seem to get quite a lot of murder and things like that do cross my path. And those, not everyone would be wanting to read those kind of energies. They can be painful if you're an empath. You need to realise very quickly, so I would have said I'm an empath, but you've got to realise very, very quickly what energies are yours and what energies aren't. So let go of what energies aren't. You might think, well, but that's really sad what happened to them, etc. Yes, but you've got to then focus on but what good did you bring to the family? So if it's empathy and you're sticking on something because of someone else is going through something, you need to realise that's not your energy and don't let it affect yours. But sometimes other people can take your energy, in which case you've got to put bubbles around you to kind of push that away. To know when I teach, that's one of the first things I cover is the empathy and how to look after your energy. And then Laura had asked, communicating while awake rather than just getting it while you're asleep. You're doing well if you can get it while you're asleep anyway, because lots of people don't remember their dreams. But spirit will communicate to you in your dreams. Belief, intention and faith are three of my choice words. So if you've got an intention to receive information while you're awake, Laura, and you've got faith it will come, and you absolutely believe it's going to come, it will come. But it's trusting. You see, when you're getting it when you're asleep, you've got nothing else in your mind that's cluttering it. So you're waking up or you're getting it in your sleep, and that's only the one thing that you come back with. So it's not got all the distortions around that could be in the daytime. It's like you're learning clairvoyance. Clairvoyance to start with, you might need to sit there with your eyes closed in order to visualise things. But then the more you practice and the more you're working with spirit, you can still do the same visualisation, but with your eyes open. So it is practice. And there's always got to be a starting point. And if you count the dream, you've been getting information in dreams or when you're asleep, that's a starting point. So it can just progress further forward from that. And someone else had said, spirit don't come through in readings. So I didn't write down your name, so I do apologise. I would want to ask, are you giving them a chance? Are you letting them come through? So it was you, Maddie. So by stating that, I'd say that you do read in other ways. So if you're using oracle cards or whatever, that's absolutely fine. I'd said spirit can sometimes use the oracle cards in order to give you messages as well. But if you're then putting stuff together with your intuition, is that not guide putting the information to you that you need to fill the gaps? In which case spirit are getting involved in the reading. If you're meaning then moving across to having other loved ones of other people coming close, that's kind of different. I would say that's going then from psychic to mediumship, which is kind of a different kettle of fish. So you can be psychic and not pick up mediumship and loved ones. There's no problem with that. And that would be then reading on a psychic level. Some would argue with me here, where I'd say, and even on a psychic level, you're often getting information from your guide. Others would say, no, you're not. You're only reading energy of the person you're reading. But I would say you do have your guide still coming through. See, as a medium, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. But I do pick up just with your name there that you have got an ability that you could develop mediumship as well, Maddie. Then I got asked, animal and spirit guides, so animal guides and spirit guides, do they do the same thing? Now, I need to point out first of all, animal guides can come through in three different ways. You're born with some, which is kind of your traits, which can give you strength. It is like a guide. Four different ways. Okay, thank you. I've actually got a dog that is my gatekeeper. She looks after me and keeps me safe. Now that's not an animal guide as you're speaking, but it is an animal, and she is a guide because she keeps me safe. But with animals, you've got animal totems. So you can have animals that will come up. You can get guidance from any animal. So if you wake up each morning and you're kind of seeing a white fox and it's out of place, it shouldn't be there, then that white fox is likely to have meaning. You might keep seeing a sparrow or a hawk. You might have a hawk that comes and lands on your windowsill. But if that happens, that's definitely out of its environment, and there could be a message behind the animal. So animals can give you messages in that way. But then you do have guides, animal guides, that you could choose to work with. So you could choose to work with a bear because you want courage and strength. Likewise, you might want to call on a lion for that, with regard to courage and strength. If you're needing to store things up or save for the future, you might want to call in a squirrel. So there's many different animals you can call in for different purposes, which then they are still guides. So, no, I wouldn't call the animal guides the same as spirit guides. in that circumstance anyway. I would with regard to the dog being the gatekeeper. But typically when people talk about animal spirit guides, no, they're not the same as spirit guides. And I'd also got asked, identifying who's helping. I'm still like this with regard to healing. I've got that many different guides that step forward for healing. When I'm doing healing, I don't worry what guide it is. I don't think it needs to be known. As long as I give them room to come through and give the healing that they're going to be specialised in, then and trust that that's going to be doing what's needed. I don't think I need to necessarily identify. That's then bringing my mind back and in thought, where I need to keep my mind shut off and just let spirit do what they're good at. So if I was thinking, oh, who's helping me now? I've probably just interfered with the communication in the first instance by wondering that. So I would just accept any help that you get from any source in the spirit world and use it and just be grateful for it, is what I would say. And over time, it will come clear who's been helping you, and it might be needing that you need to develop a little bit further in order to understand that clearly. Yes, I can help with all of that, and I do when I teach the mediumship, and get everyone to feel different types of energies, because everything has got a different feeling. When you can understand the different vibrations you're feeling, then you can understand the different energies that are giving you the information. Right, so I've answered some of the questions. Now, if you're unsure if you've got abilities, or you might know that you've got abilities and don't know quite what path to go down, I might as well let John talk for a minute. So I'm going to let my guide come through and talk in trance for a moment.
Good evening, everyone. It is John. It is nice to see you all, so to speak. Hello, Marie.
Hello, John.
So I decided I would come through and speak through the medium. Like I said, I am John. I am the medium's main guide. I haven't always been able to speak through the medium. I had to wait a long time. But I can now, which give a lot of benefit to others. So, you think you have an ability. If this is the case, one of the first things that could be done is getting a reading with a medium. What I would say, strongly, and Marie had read my mind earlier, that you want to try to check that the medium you are getting the developmental reading from also develop others. It does not mean that you are going to get developed by them, but it means they have an understanding of development. You see what can happen? You could be put off. So you go for a reading, a developmental reading, with a medium that does not develop others. They could get their own mind involved and be telling you to slow down, or they cannot answer your questions that you have because they do not understand the process of development. You see, certain mediums are born with the ability, they have got no clue how to teach another. It just happened for them. They have not put thought into, I get my information like this or like that, or they have no interest. They prefer it to a lesser mediums in the world. If you come across one like that, they're going to try to deter you from developing. So, number one, try to get a developmental reading, but make sure the medium develop others themselves, okay? It doesn't have to be my medium. It could be any medium. But just make sure they develop others themselves. If you can find a trance medium that will bring their guide through, or even possibly your guide through, or bring your guide close to them, then you can be getting information about your development path, your life path, which can really aid you. No spirit will tell you what to do, but they can point you in the right direction. I love giving development readings and helping. Every development reading the medium does, I get to talk in, which is wonderful. I like to help others. You see, by doing it this way, in trance, I believe, this is a John, I believe that we can give from the spirit world more individual, personal advice, not treating you like a number or into a set parameter. Everyone is unique, everyone is individual. So then you can have some information that is relevant to you. But likewise, if you then talk about the development, I heavily get involved in development with others. It is not a race. There should be no comparison to others. If you are a development group, you don't want to look at others and try to be like them. Your basis, your scale for comparing how you are doing is to your past self. Don't compare to others. You could be comparing yourself to someone that is absolutely useless and guessing. Only compare yourself to your past self. Everyone develops at different speeds, but don't get caught. Don't get caught into the, oh, if it takes this long. It is like how long is a piece of string. It varies for everyone. But if you have found your life calling, your sole purpose, then you can develop very fast and start working as a medium. And being paid, I would say, is easy, and the medium would agree here with me, if it is your sole purpose and your life path, easily within 6 months with hard work. You just need to have the trust and remove fear. Doesn't matter what you find your safety in, as long as you believe it, then you are safe. Is there anything else you think I should cover, me? I hope that has helped you all. I don't want to bore you too much with me speaking. So I will say good evening to you all. I send love to all of you and all of your families. Lots of love. This is John. Goodbye, me.
Bye.
Carolyn's asking, she's been told she's got spiritual gifts. Can I confirm that? She has dreams that come true. I easily say I can confirm that, Carolyn, but what good does that do you? Really, with regard to the development wise, obviously I can't do it now. It takes time. I'd say development reading minimum's 40 minutes, if not an hour. That's where you can truly get help. It's all well and good being told you can do it. Like when I first got told I could do it, I then did seek a reading or two to try and work out what way and what was possible. I would say to anyone that's believing they have and that they're wanting to move forward, it doesn't have to be through me, but I would say go get a development reading. But the signs that you've got, I give to think a lot of you have covered those yourself anyway. You know things before they happen. You know who's ringing you before you've answered the phone. You just know when someone needs your help. You've always been good at keeping out of trouble.
I think a lot of people who have mediumship ability have seen spirit through the corner of the eye or in a reflection.
I remember seeing things as a kid.
Yeah.
As a child, you may have had spiritual experiences. Marie remembers being lifted up off of a bed and seeing things. I did see things. I still do that. Well, I do now, and it's come back. If anyone wants to ask anything, please feel free. Jean, the guides, I can and I do spirit guide portraits. But better than that, I can show you what they look like. Sometimes they'll let me tell you their name, other times they want to give it you themselves. So I have to abide by whatever the guide wants me to do at the time. But these spirit guide portraits is $16.99, and then you've got, you know exactly what they look like, and most times, 8 times out of 10, people recognise them, they know it's them. But honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about your guides, just know that they're there. The important thing is knowing that they're there. Sienna, do ask, is there anything you want to add, sweetheart?
One of your self-conscious abilities is when you've started to speak light language, isn't it? That one you really had to
Oh yeah.
go out of your comfort zone with.
Sometimes it will take us out of our comfort zone. So when light language, they started giving me light language, I thought, all right, idiot, because it doesn't make any sense. It drops into our subconscious, and it's not English. It's not a language that, it's just called light language, and it's all different sort of sounds. Now when they started giving me that for healing, I did feel like a prize plonker. I don't worry about that anymore. It's much easier to communicate with someone else's loved ones than it is our own. Chris was asking, do I have an animal spirit guide? I work with the animal spirit guides. Animals work with me an awful lot, especially with readings. So I get dropped information. So if each animal's got a meaning behind it, which is from its archetypes, a spirit could be trying to give you a message, for instance, Crystal. They could come and spend 20 minutes telling me all the detail of what they're trying to tell you. Or they could drop me a goat. And then I could tell you all about that goat in about 2 minutes, just from them showing me a goat, which is saving them energy, saving me energy, and giving exactly the same message. So in that way, Spirit do work with me an awful lot, showing me animals so that they can pass messages very, very quickly. But likewise, they do that with numbers and with songs, with song lyrics. So anyone that's trying to get communication from initially, ask your guides or Spirit to drop you a song, then look up the lyrics. We often have it, because we did this when I was developing, but me and Maria will often have a song in our heads when we wake up, and there'll be meaning in the lyrics. Or if we go on a car journey, we can often have Spirit just dropping song after song after song, and the lyrics are always relevant. But you can ask your loved ones or your guides to drop you a song. It doesn't have to be a song that you know, it's the lyrics that are important. Ask them to drop you a number. And if you always look up the angel numbers in the same place, which I'd always recommend Joanne's Sacred Scribes, because then Spirit knows that they can give you a number and they already know what the meaning is going to be. Whereas if you're looking them up willy-nilly just on the internet, here, there or anywhere, different places will have different meanings to those numbers. So always look it up in the same place. And you can get them to drop you animals and look up the meanings for what the animals mean. So there's 3 ways you can easily start to communicate with Spirit. I had a weird dream last night, a bright green snake coming through the bedroom. Right, going to bite me. Let me try and tune into that dream for you briefly. I don't know why I'm being told to, but a bright green snake comes through the bedroom light and going to bite you. A snake can be very spiritual. See, a snake would normally mean that you're about to go through some significant personal changes. It'll be intense and dramatic, but an old self will metaphorically die as a new self emerges. You're going to feel a surge of energy that will sharpen your senses, alert your mental faculties, and open up new channels of awareness. So I do feel that a long-standing issue is going to become slightly easier or resolve. So it required a great deal of your attention, but you're going to start seeing things in a new light. And there's some sort of healing on its way for you. Snakes are very healing, which is Kundalini. So the snake represents Kundalini energy. So it's coming out towards you, it's reaching out to you. That's not a bad thing. You'd interpret that it was going to bite you, but I would have said it was coming to heal. And you said it was green. So green as a colour generally means healing, health. So now that's given a second confirmation to what I just received with the snake. So the snake's down to healing and the colour green's down to healing. So I would say that you've got something coming towards you that's going to aid you to heal there, Tanya. Yes, I will be putting more courses on again, Bex. What was the other? You wanted me to do another one of the talks. You had a good idea, didn't you, sweetheart? I can't read from writing. About life healing, wasn't it?
Oh,
Healing
yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
So I will be doing another talk probably next week or towards the end of this week, maybe Friday. Healing life issues, things that you can't
Yeah, that was to do with Ascended Masters.
get over, or Ascended Masters. There's all sorts that can help you with. There's lots that can help you with life healing. There's lots of different spiritual methods that can help you with life healing. Obstacles you can't overcome. Sometimes you don't know what the obstacles are yourself, but you keep going around in circles. So I will be doing a talk on that as well.
Physical life.
Yeah, most of the blockages to do with spiritual development are in the physical life. Typically. So Julie's asked, how do you tune into spirit? I see spirit and get ringing in my ears. But how do you tap into what their download is, what they're saying to you? I feel they communicate with me at night, especially, but I don't remember any of it, and I do meditate. So Julie, first thing, let me break that down. So at night, if you're wanting to communicate with you in dreams at night time, you need to make it your intention to remember the dreams. To remember the dreams. When you first wake up, you've got a matter of, within 3 minutes of you waking up, you'll have lost 20% of your dream. Within 5 minutes, you'll have lost 80% of your dream. So the first thing you've got to do before you go and have a cup and before you go to the bathroom is write down what your dream is the moment you wake up. But you can have an intention to remember your dream as well before you go to bed, which would aid that. With regard to the ringing in your ears, the ringing in your ears is a download of information, and it goes into your subconscious. Don't worry about trying to decipher that. You'll know it when it's needed to be known. And then you'll be able to act on it because it's gone into your subconscious. So they're communicating with you in a way that you don't need to understand it in the realm that we're living in the dimension we're living in. Just accept that you've got that download and it will do some good. As long as you follow your heart and don't overthink it with your mind. The communicating, even when people say clairaudience, most people don't expect you to hear it in your ear. It doesn't, it drops into your mind where you process what you actually hear. So you don't actually hear any sound, so you can't be looking to hear something. I might say, okay, I can hear spirit telling me. It doesn't mean I'm actually hearing it. So clairaudience isn't hearing it. So you've got to trust what, you've got to allow your imagination to work. So your imagination isn't just your imagination. Imagination can be a reality. That's the area of the mind that you want to be working in when you're trying to bring information in from spirit. But then you need to trust what you've got or find some way of confirming what you've got in that area of your mind is correct. So that you can trust and bring it on even more. My son seems to see a lot of people in my house, 3 actually. While it scares him, is it wrong to ask them to leave? Would they still help us anyway? Kids are normally very, very sensitive. I would tell any parent to not tell children, no, there's nothing there, because they'll just shut off. There will be things there. They can see. I know our youngest daughter, she's grown up around all of this. She's not worried about anything. She talks to them, doesn't she? And she's got no fear. See, if you've got a fear, then the children are going to read off that you've got a fear, which will then make them fear. But it is rare to, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Obviously doing clearances, there can be negative things around, but it's so rare. It's more likely going to be positive. Psychometry, Laura. So psychometry, I would have said you don't even need to hold it. You can literally see an item and bring energy in from it. And I know I've been successful teaching that way. So yes, it can aid it and magnify it when you're holding it, but all you've got to do is connect with it. And that's what you're doing by putting it in your hand anyway. So if you can do that from sight as well.
When you're holding it, it's actually an energetic hand and energy around that your physical hand that is reading the energy of the item anyway. It's nothing to do with your physical hand, is it?
No, you're picking it up spiritually. So I know I'd rewrite psychometry books, but that's where spirit have helped me. So I'd never had a background in it in the first place. I don't like particularly reading, although I do read when they tell me to look something up. But everything that I've got has come direct from the spirit world. Letting go of things that no longer serve us is so hard. It can be hard, but there are many ways that it can be done. And if you're trying to develop, keep a bloody journal, not a diary, a journal, and write in it, because then you'll look back, because something will happen to you again that you know has happened to you before, and you can look back and see what it meant, and you'll be able to start to get meanings for the way you see things. Right, but I'm going to have to come offline now anyway. I've got a development to do, development class. So if I can be of any further help to anyone that thinks they've got abilities, then please get in touch. Your best way, whether that's through me or through another medium, but like I said, I would check that they develop others, is get a development reading. If you want to know more about your guides, contact me or find someone else that does the spirit guide portraits. I do feel very fortunate from Spirit to have given me such a wide bank of abilities. I do feel very thankful to them, because I generally do. Anyone can come to me for any reading and I can tune into some ability that they've given me that can aid with that development, whether it's a struggle in their life path, whether it's energy related or something negative that needs clearing. It's not like, oh yeah, you need to get some help from that, which others will often do but don't know how to do it themselves. They have given me a very sturdy foundation, haven't they? Yeah. Which I do feel, that's what I like to try and pass on to others, is that full foundation, so that you can deal with anything for anyone. Because there's nothing worse than you hear so many times from people that have gone for a reading and you're either told that they can't be read. If you have that happen, that you can't be read, then it's normally that your energy is higher frequency than the one that's trying to read you. So theoretically, then you'd have more ability than the reader. But that also winds me up when people do come to me and say, I've been told so many times I can't be read. No, that's rubbish. But I do hope that's been helpful to you. If you do have any questions, like I said, please do message me. I'm always happy to. Might take me a bit of time to reply to them. If it's messages, I always reply to them myself. It would be a development reading. It puts your mindset into place as well. Kind of give you a starting point to move forward. And just be aware, if you are going towards development classes or circles, try and check first how long people have been in that circle. If you hear they've been there 5 years, then perhaps the teaching in there isn't going to be the greatest for you. I always try. I was with my intense mentorship development. Then I wanted to be able to do it by the end of the 4 months.
Never learned from someone who hasn't demonstrated it.
Yeah. Make sure that you get a demonstration that they can do what they're saying they can. As I've said with most of the development, I end up with the guides coming, talking, showing, they change bits and everything. And so, like I said, I do feel very fortunate. But I do hope that's helped you all. It's been lovely to chat with you as well, and you asking your questions. So lots of love, all of you, and I will speak to you all very, very soon. Have a great evening. So thank you for tuning in to Thunder and Lightning Weekly Podcast. Remember, awaken with Thunder and Lightning.
Reignite the light
In your soul. Talking all things
mediumship,
paranormal,
and spirit.
Have a great week, everyone. This is Gavin. Bye-bye.
And it's a goodbye from me. Bye.
Lots of love, everyone.